even if Christianity were false, the teachings of Jesus still apply in our everyday lives. Loving your neighbor, or even loving your enemy, even if Christianity were false, it's still a good teaching.
I fully agree. When I'm talking about morality with people, I think morality is summed up in a better version, whatever you like, your favorite version of love your neighbor as yourself. I just don't think we need the first one. I think the first one has nothing to do with morality. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul.
Oh, I see. Yeah, gotcha.
I feel like actually that is an amoral statement. I don't think that has anything to do with morality as most people understand morality. That loving God doesn't bear any, it's not, none of the fruits of the Spirit are tied to, are you loving God, per se.
The second greatest commandment, right? Love your neighbor as
yourself. The second greatest commandment is the one we need. Yeah, we can ignore the first one.
I would disagree in this regard. There's an implied meaning, loving your neighbor as yourself. And I would argue that one doesn't know how to love oneself unless they rightly understand their place in the universe. And so that requires us, I would argue, to love God with all that you have.
That's the quibble people have with the golden rule. They try to make the platinum rule, then love your neighbor as they wish to be loved.
I haven't heard it that way. I've heard that the silver rule is don't do to others what you don't want done to yourself. The platinum rule is how did you phrase it? Love your neighbor as they want to be?
Love your neighbor as they wish to be loved, which is, of course, then you get then the meta problem there is that, well, perhaps people think more highly of themselves than they ought.
Paul, you can love me by sending me $1 million, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? You send me the entire content to your bank account. That's how I feel I should be loved.
We can have a maligned view of how we should be loved. I mean, think about women that are in physically abusive relationships with their partner, and they stay in that relationship. They feel they receive love from that person in that way. That's really messed up. Things are not the way that they're supposed to be functioning. I think that person is genuinely mistaken that they're loved the right way in that particular way. I think we can recognize where people have malformed or misaligned views of how they should be loved. So yeah, I wouldn't buy the platinum rule.
That is where I like to punt to, well, you know what, my version of morality is that we attempt to reduce harm and increase flourishing, because reducing harm.
Yeah, but what is flourishing?
Well, this is the trouble. We are not great judges, and we don't have full information. Yeah. But those, if we want to look at those as virtues as opposed to goalposts or scorecards, that harm reduction and flourishing, again, you have to suss all that out.